with Amanda Anisimova in Wimbledon final. Serena Williams' ex-coach Rennae Stubbs hopes U.S. women clean sweep 2025 slams foot Madison Keys. Coco Gauff, a new American anchor on center court. Amanda Anisimova, at just 23, has delivered a stunning performance at Wimbledon 2025. In the semifinal, she upset world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a tense, 3-hour battle, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4, under sweltering center court heat. It was her hallmark display of courage and consistency, saving 11 of 14 breakpoints and deploying her powerful two-handed backhand with precision when it mattered most. This victory doesn't just mark her debut in a Grand Slam final. It shatters a nearly decade-long drought for American women at Wimbledon. She becomes the first since Serena Williams to reach the women's singles final, the first since 2019, and could be the first American to lift the title since 2016 if she triumphs in the final. Facing Poland's Iga Swiatek, a 5-time Grand Slam champion who crushed Belinda Bencic 6-2, 6-0 to reach her first Wimbledon final, Anisimova prepares for a clash of experience and raw gravity-defying grit. The Guardian. Railway track from burnout to breakthrough. Anisimova's journey has been anything but linear. After a mental health break in 2023, she returned in January 2024 and gradually rebuilt her game from near rank 191 to the top 15 by June 2025. Her story is one of resilience, personal sacrifice, and rediscovered purpose. She acknowledged the importance of family too, sending a loving message from court to her sister, brother-in-law, and her nephew, underscoring how her journey has been deeply rooted in personal support and connection. The Times of India. Brain Rennae Stubbs, betting on a U.S. slam sweep. Former Serena Williams coach Rennae Stubbs has sounded out a bold vision. With Anisimova in the Wimbledon final, the U.S. could complete an unprecedented relay slam in 2025. That would be 4 different American women winning all 4 majors in a calendar year. Keys at the Australian Open, Gauff at Roland Garros, Anisimova at Wimbledon, and potentially another. Stubbs has publicly pinned her hopes on Anisimova to continue the streak begun by Madison Keys, who claimed the Australian Open after beating both world number 2 Swiatek and world number 1 Sabalenka, and Coco Gauff, who captured the French Open this season. The Tennis Gazette, +15. Wikipedia, +15. Sportskeeda, +15. Puzzle piece American trifecta, Keys, Gauff, and Anisimova. Madison Keys kicked off the year with breakthrough victories at the Australian Open, leveraging her big serve and aggressive style to beat Swiatek in the semis and Sabalenka in the final, earning her first major crown and returning to world number 7. Coco Gauff followed at Roland Garros, dispatching Sabalenka and making history as the first American woman since Serena to win multiple majors, though with some technical criticisms from Stubbs, particularly about her serve and inconsistency under windy conditions. The Tennis Gazette. Amanda Anisimova, emerging as the third U.S. hope, now stands on the brink of completing the relay dream by capturing Wimbledon. Stubbs' belief in a clean sweep stems from this rising depth. America's young guns now outshine expectations, fueling a national renaissance in women's tennis. Glowing star the moment before the final. On the eve of center court's final showdown, Anisimova remarked that Swiatek has long been an inspiration and that their first professional meeting will be super special. She promised to enjoy every moment, focus on quality, and not think about what's on the line. The Sun. The Tennis Gazette. Swiatek, in turn, praised Anisimova's grass court rise and acknowledged the matchup's challenge. The surface fits her, so it's going to be a challenge, setting up what may be one of the most emotionally charged finals in years. The Tennis Gazette. Performing arts themes and resonance. Rising from adversity. Anisimova's comeback from mental health struggles, personal tragedy, and ranking descent is a widely resonant story. Athletic triumph and emotional resilience combining under pressure on one of tennis' grandest stages. The American Relay. Keys, Gauff, and Anisimova represent 3 distinct chapters in 2025. Each breakthrough generates momentum toward a possible unprecedented national sweep of the majors, driven by different games, personalities, circumstantial UPS, and battles won. Legacy and expectations. With Serena Williams retired, the mantle of American tennis dominance feels up for grabs. Stubbs, who once guided Serena, now is mentoring her nation's broader hopes, betting on a new generation to carry U.S. tennis forward. Checkered flag finale, setting the stage. Amanda Anisimova's first Grand Slam final at Wimbledon on July 12, 2025 stands as the climactic chapter in a gripping season. Should she succeed, she will seal a relay slam, Australian Open keys, French Open golf, Wimbledon. Anisimova become the first American woman to win Wimbledon since Serena in 2016. Confirm Stubbs' vision and elevate U.S. women's tennis to a historic high. Even if she falls just short, Anisimova's journey, her emotional maturity, comeback arc, and fighting spirit cements her among the new leaders of the sport. And Stubbs' bold statement that the 2025 Women's Grand Slams might belong entirely to the USA adds an extra narrative layer that resonates well beyond the grass courts of Wimbledon. Writing hand words of the moment. In 2025, American women have rewritten tennis history one final at a time. Keys at Melbourne, golf at Paris, Anisimova on grass. The nation stands on the brink of an unprecedented streak. And at its heart is a 23-year-old with the steely calm to hold nerve, the strokes to deliver, and a story to inspire. Rennae Stubbs believed it could happen. Now, all eyes turn to the final, to see if the American relay completes its Grand Slam sprint. As the golden sun bathed the pristine grass courts of the All England Club in July 2025, Amanda Anisimova stepped onto center court, her eyes reflecting a quiet fire. The 23-year-old American, long hailed as a prodigy since her teenage breakthrough at the 2019 French Open, was about to play the biggest match of her career, the Wimbledon final. Facing off against a formidable opponent from Eastern Europe, Anisimova carried not just the hopes of a nation, but the growing belief that U.S. women's tennis was entering a new renaissance. Watching from the stands, former world #1 doubles champion and legendary coach Rennae Stubbs adjusted her sunglasses. As someone who had coached Serena Williams in her final chapter, Stubbs had witnessed the waning of one American dynasty, but she now saw the rise of another. Anisimova's powerful, graceful strokes, her poise under pressure, and her all-court versatility reminded Stubbs of the old guard. But more than that, it reminded her that the future was already here. This, Stubbs whispered to a commentator beside her, could be the year we take them all. She wasn't just talking about Wimbledon. She was dreaming of a clean sweep, all 4 Grand Slam titles in a single calendar year by American women. And Anisimova's run in London was the clearest signal, yet that such a feat wasn't fantasy, but a looming possibility. Act 1. The quiet ascent of Amanda Anisimova. Amanda Anisimova's journey has never been linear. Her early rise was meteoric. Semi-finalist in Paris at just 17, wins over top 10 players, and endorsements rolling in. But setbacks, injuries, personal loss, inconsistency slowed her down. She was never forgotten, though. Like a sleeping giant, she lingered on the fringes of the top 50, until a coaching change, a renewed fitness regime, and an ironclad mindset turned 2025 into her breakout season. By the time Wimbledon arrived, Anisimova had already made the quarterfinals in Melbourne and reached the semis at Roland Garros. With her game finely tuned to grass, aggressive baseline play combined with delicate touch at the net, she carved her way through the Wimbledon draw, defeating 2 former Grand Slam champions en route to the final. She was peaking at the perfect moment, but Anisimova wasn't alone in her ascent. Across the tennis universe, a constellation of American stars was rising, each bringing something unique to the court. Act 2. The American Trinity, Goff, Keys, and the Dream Team. If Anisimova is the silent storm, Coco Gauff is the thunderclap. Still only 21, Gauff had already etched her name in tennis history. The 2023 U.S. Open champion, Olympic silver medalist, and fan favorite, Coco was now a fixture in the top 5. Her game, once erratic, had matured into a lethal blend of athleticism, intelligence, and raw power. Her 2025 season had already included a dominant Australian Open title, a blistering run where she didn't drop a set. Then there was Madison Keys, the 30-year-old veteran whose career had experienced a revival. In Paris that spring, she had played like a woman reborn, hitting through clay, a surface she once detested, with clinical precision. Her French Open title, her first slam win after multiple finals appearances, was a cathartic triumph that resonated with fans and peers alike. Goff in Australia, Keys in Paris, and now Anisimova at Wimbledon. Rennae Stubbs wasn't wrong to hope. 3 slams. 3 American women. 1 left to go. The U.S. Open loomed in late summer. And if the stars aligned, it could be the first time since 1983 that American women swept all 4 Grand Slams, and the first ever with 4 different champions. Act 3, a legacy beyond titles. Beyond the thrilling statistics and jaw-dropping tennis, what this moment represented was something deeper, a passing of the torch. Serena and Venus Williams had redefined what it meant to be champions, powerful, fearless, unapologetically themselves. They had changed the sport forever. Now, a generation of women, raised watching them, inspired by them, was taking the baton and sprinting toward a future they helped build. Stubbs, ever the realist and tactician, saw this too. It's not just that they're winning, she told reporters at Wimbledon. It's how they're winning. They're tough, they're resilient, and they're lifting each other up. That's the Serena effect. That's the American legacy. Indeed, there was a camaraderie among Goff, Keys, Anisimova, and others, like Sloane Stephens, still dangerous on her day, and Danielle Collins, the fierce competitor, who mentored the younger players while competing alongside them. The locker room wasn't a battlefield. It was a crucible where greatness was forged. Act 4, the U.S. Open awaits. With 3 slams down and the tennis world buzzing, anticipation for the 2025 U.S. Open reached fever pitch. Goff returned to New York as the defending champion and national sweetheart. Keys, buoyed by her French Open title, looked to prove she still had fuel left in the tank. Anisimova, depending on her Wimbledon final result, could be the new queen of grass with a hunger for hard-court glory. And then there were the wild cards, the teenagers bursting onto the scene, the veterans making their last stands, the unpredictable matchups that only New York could deliver. But one thing was certain. American women were no longer underdogs. They were the standard. As the final point was played on the hallowed grass of center court and Amanda Anisimova lifted her arms, whether in victory or defiant grace in defeat, the echoes of a new era rang clear. Rennae Stubbs, standing to applaud, smiled to herself. "The torch has been passed," she said, her voice nearly lost in the roar of the crowd. "Now let's finish what we started."